I'm gonna keep watching where that woodpecker is. See if he comes out into the open a bit more. You can see all the go-away birds enjoying the nice warm morning sunlight. Hi Anna-Marie, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Anna-Marie would like to know, the grey lories look all very puffed up this morning. Is that because they are cold? It is, Anna-Marie, like we've seen impalas and other antelope too, they puff up when it's cold, and that allows a layer of air to get caught between, in this case, the feathers and the body, and that acts as sort of an insulate blanket, because the body will warm up that air, and the feathers will keep that air inside, and it sort of acts as a blanket. They also are puffed up because they are doing this quite a lot of preening and cleaning while they are warming up in the sunlight. Hi, Tom from Seattle. Tom would like to know, are there fish in this waterhole? And if so, how did they get here? Oh, Tom, I'm going to be with you in a second. Looks like we just had another green pigeon land on the edge of the waterhole. Oh, there's a couple coming in. Oh, I hope I caught that flying. So Tom, there are probably, I would say, one species of fish in this waterhole at the moment, and that is sharp-toothed catfish. And they are actually able to breathe air, and they will move over land. So when this dries out, they can actually walk, and they can do a couple of kilometers between different water sources. They have another adaptation for surviving when these ponds dry out, and that is to burrow themselves into the mud, deep into the mud. They form a little cocoon around themselves with sort of slimy mucus that they produce, and that even as it hardens on the outside, they're able to stay moist, and it's sort of a form of hibernation, and they can stay in the mud for quite a while. Obviously not indefinitely, but they can last a dry season cocooned in the mud. There's that little three-banded plover again. That woodpecker has moved further into the thickets. Unfortunately, we can't see. But if I had to guess, and I'm not saying it was definitely, just from the general impression and size of the woodpecker and the little bit I did see as it flew into that thicket, I'm going to guess it was probably a cardinal woodpecker. It's quite a small woodpecker, quite common species in the area, and just the general size. And it did look to have a very streaky sort of chest area. And it was a male because it had red on the back of its head. So there we go. That is the cardinal woodpecker. I would say it was a male cardinal woodpecker. As I said, I didn't get a good enough view, but just the general body size and shape and some of the colouring I did see, that is what I would guess it was, a cardinal woodpecker. Alright, there's another game drive vehicle coming in here. Probably thinks we found something really exciting like lions or leopards, but we're just birding. Not to say that birding isn't exciting, it's definitely one of my favourite pastimes. I've spent many hours crawling through thorny thickets and stinging nettles just to see one specific tiny little brown bird. So So, geez, how many species have we managed to record since we've been sitting here, guys? We'll put a tentative cardinal woodpecker, or we can just call it a woodpecker for now. But I think we can add a few more. See if you guys can remember what bird species we've seen since we've been sitting at the waterhole, and how many. I'm just going to move the vehicle forward a little bit so we can add another species to the list. Hear them calling. Oh, I think we might be able to add more than one species to the list if we move a little bit forward. So I just saw a bird fly into this leadwood tree next to us. Oh. I'll keep looking for it, but I think we're going to add another species if we go. Can you swing around the top of that same little acacia that the go-away birds were in? We can see there's another species to add. There's that Cape turtle dove. I don't know, where did this bird disappear to? So, if you heard me making that funny noise there, that is quite a nice way to bring the smaller bird species out. It's an alarm call, so they come to investigate to see if there's a snake or something. But here's a nice, slightly easier one to add to the species list for twin dams on this beautiful winter's morning. We've got some crested francolin. They might be coming down to drink as well, so we'll keep an eye on them. Doesn't look like that little guy I saw fly into the trees playing along today. They're also great foragers of around dung, all the francolin species, especially the big fans of feeding in elephant dung. Just listening carefully to see if I can hear any other birds that we might be able to see. Nice little family of francolin. They are actually very, very pretty birds, crested francolin. Wonderful sort of striations on their body. Very distinct little white eye line. An edge of a waterhole like this is quite a good feeding place for them if they're looking for grubs and that, with the amount of buffalo dung around. But it looks like they are also mostly, oh, there we go, a bit of begging going on. So that says those two who ran up to the one in the middle were probably babies not so long ago, and they sort of sub-adults. You can see they're slightly smaller. They're also feeding off grass seeds that have fallen on the ground. Actually moving right towards me. They come feed all around us. It's amazing if you stop and listen and just sit in an area quietly, how much you can see. And I mean, we've only been really focusing on the birds. We haven't looked at the other stuff around us. But that's the most amazing thing about the bush, is that you are literally surrounded by fascinating things, whether it be grasses, plants, flowers, birds, insects, even dung. It's going to be quite a difficult one, but I think we can try. Safari Live if you're on Twitter. Hi, Donna from Michigan. Donna would like to know, do all birds in this area nest in trees, or do some of them nest on the ground? And in particular, where does a lilac-breasted roller nest? Thelma from Michigan. Well, Thelma, a lot of bird species, the majority I would say will nest in trees, but if we swing down and have a look at these little three-banded plovers again, here's a good example of a bird that would nest on the ground. So a lot of your sort of plovers, lapwings, waders will nest on the ground, and they're ground nests, and their eggs are very, very camouflaged, so very difficult to see. Not really nests as opposed to depressions in the soil, but the majority of the birds will nest in trees. And as for a lilac-breasted roller, they normally nest in hollows in dead trees, is where they would nest. I'm just trying to see what VM's following there.
Flies.
That's the flies. They're waiting for the buffalo to arrive.
And there's something walking on water.
There's something walking on water? I'm just trying to see where. It's called a water boatman. An aquatic insect that hunts tiny, microscopic other insects around on the top of the water. But George, Ann, and RC, well done, guys. You have got the correct answer on that tiny little bird who was sitting on the top of the leadwood tree next to us. Very pretty little canary, a little seed eater, a yellow-throated canary. And that's them there, number one. And I can actually hear them calling behind me. I don't know if you guys can hear that sort of very high-pitched little. That's the yellow-fronted canaries calling. Well, I think we've done really well sitting here, but I think it's time we move along a little bit and see what else we can find. check the junction of these roads carefully. There's lots of animals, specifically the predators like lion and leopard. They really like to use our roads as highways. It's like a big animal path for them. And especially when the mornings are quite cool and dewy, they'd much prefer to walk down the road and not get wet fur and grass seeds in their face. So you do utilize the roads quite a lot. So, hello. I haven't seen these on Djuma for a while. I've seen them on Arethusa a bit, but not on Djuma. I'm just going to stop. They look quite alert, so I'm just stopping a little bit further away first. But there's a little herd of waterbuck. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's quite a nice herd. They look like they're a bit more relaxed. Now, they definitely are alert, so I'm just wondering whether it's just alert from us driving up or they might have heard or smelled something else. I'm just going to sneak forward a little bit. Morning, girls. Quite nice to see them back. They do move through the properties and spend different times in different areas. Very, very dainty looking for such a large antelope. Very sort of soft features. They are quite alert, so I'm just going to sit quietly here for a few seconds. See if they're just on alert because they heard us coming up the road, or because it could be that they've heard a predator or smelt a predator in the area. You can see that constant flicking of the tail, and quite often you see them stomp their legs. You see the flies are out in force. You see those very distinctive sort of white rings around their bottom. It looks like they've sat on a freshly painted toilet seat. Now those are following mechanisms for the youngsters to be able to follow the adults in thicker bush. You see, that youngster is definitely very enthralled in something there. I think he's actually just seen a group of francolin that I can just make out moving on the other side of this little drainage line. But I suppose when you are prey, it is quite good to be hyper alert. Well, lots of flies out today as it gets warmer. Looks like they're going to continue on. I think we will as well. So guys, we're going to continue up towards Treehouse Dam, see what we can find. In the meantime, we're going to cross back to Marcus, who's been busy tracking, and we'll be with you again a little later. So enjoy your time with Mark.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Wendy. We are now on Twin Dams Road. We are opposite from Vula's Ravine. We're also in the last place that I saw Karula's tracks going in. I'm just taking a walk in there. Anything in there at all? We head down towards Chillipan, maybe. Pick up any tracks further down south. No sounds, no alarm calls. So I don't know where these cats are. sign of any of them coming out onto this road yet. Sounds like you've been having a pretty good time with some birds down at Twin Dams. Quite amazing, so many different species. We could try that little track. Let's try. Let's go and see. Get into the riverbed here. A little bit further south from where we last were sitting and waiting for Mbula. It's not warm yet. It is warming up. I needed to take a few layers off actually. And it's not that hot that a cat has to find shade and rest. So we could still be walking. Curious to see whether he and Karula are going to meet up, because I'm sure those are her tracks. And both tracks seem to sort of end up within. Well, we saw him, so we know where he ended up. Nothing here. Very well worn pathway. That I can see. See what we can find down here in the Milwaukee. Slightly different place to where we were. And if there's anything coming out of this particular track, nothing that I can see so far. Go too far upriver, but we can try a little ways. Like a little island further up. Hippo tracks only, no cat tracks. I think he must have laid down somewhere where we last, almost where we last saw him. there's that jackalberry that we were looking at from the other side. Just through this gap here. We're now. It is. But it's just for me as a landmark. It gives me an idea of where we were to come out. And this is more or less where he would have, should have, could have, should have, would have. No sign of the other leopard that seemed to have come down this way, and this, maybe this pathway. Talking about Hippo Dam. Now, I don't know anywhere called Hippo Dam, but I think evidently Brent was tracking a leopard that went over into Torchwood. Right, and now this is back to where we were earlier. So exactly where we were earlier, and I've just walked down here too while you were watching all the birds. I actually took a walk down here, and doesn't seem to be anything. Well, if you don't try, you don't know, I suppose. It was worth a try. Cindy in Sacramento. Hello, Cindy. Wanting to know the picture that Will showed me last night on the outside chat. Is it Karula or Mbula? I actually don't know, Cindy. I'm going to have a lot closer look at it because markings. Well, since it's a cat yawning, it's kind of hard to tell who it is. And I'll have a look at it again today. Tony in the Netherlands, if the riverbeds fill up, does it affect animals hunting? Not really. It doesn't really change things much, Tony. That's what you were asking. They don't flow for very long periods of time, these riverbeds. If anything, they'll only flow for a few days after a very heavy rain. So it doesn't really change things very much in terms of animals hunting or feeding. It's only after some flash flooding that you'll find these rivers getting water in them. further down Twin Dams Road, I know that we can't get too far down there, but if there's no tracks heading that way, then I don't think there's anything down there. But maybe we'll do a big loop through the riverbed and onto Vulture's Nest, perhaps onto Central Road. Maybe we take a ride that way and see what we can find from that direction. The other thing is that Karula possibly could have, if that was Karula, that female leopard whose tracked come down here, could have walked through grass areas like this down my left, where you're not going to pick up any tracks and it's going to be very difficult to follow a cat's tracks. So maybe they were picked up elsewhere. I think Brent was following female leopard tracks, to think they were Karulas. So possibly he picked up on the tracks that are an extension of these tracks. I've just missed where they've come out somewhere. Maybe I'll find that now to do a big loop. Hi Chris, it's probably a good afternoon to you in South Australia, in Adelaide. Nice to hear from you again. Chris wants to know what I mean by when I was talking about cats watching us with soft eyes, or they soften their eyes. They close their eyes and they look at you just through slits in their eyes. Basically they soften. Aggressive, wide open eyes are aggressive, they're challenging, they're focusing, there is intent. Whereas when cats look at you and it's a slow blink, but they'll still look at you through those little slits. That's what I mean. Hope you get my meaning. If you've got a cat at home, it's almost like smiling eyes. It's a very important gesture as far as cats are concerned. Also, amongst members of their own species, you'll find that cats will also become submissive when they look at another cat. If they're submissive, they will close their eyes or soften their eyes and then perhaps even look away. Going to break this twig. Ow. A dead buffalo thorn branch. Ow. That's why I did that, because it's sounds interesting that friends got something interesting. I think maybe if we head over that way. I'm going to carry on down Twin Dams Road and follow up on tracks and see what I can find along this way, and I'll come back to you a bit later. In the meantime, I'll see you soon.
Welcome back, everyone. It actually just seemed quite an interesting little passage that happened as we arrived at the hyena den. Literally at the mouth of the hyena den was a herd of zebra, and there were no hyenas when we arrived. And then all of a sudden, I think 3 or 4 adult hyena arrived. I mean, a hyena is definitely capable of taking down a zebra, but they're not really looking at interest, so they just walked up to the zebra and the zebra moved off. So the zebra were literally standing at the entrance to the den.
Channel.
Nisikaya is active. So actually the zebra stallion is still a little bit closer and sort of watching. And a zebra can be a very violent animal, and I think these hyenas all look quite well fed and don't really. So there's the stallion, he's a bit closer. Just watching the hyenas. That was perfect timing. We arrived as the hyenas arrived. I don't see any of the cubs yet, but we've got the adults here. A little bit of greeting. These hyenas are all looking quite well fed, so they've obviously found food somewhere, or they've hunted something. I'm not particularly interested in the zebras. What's found there? That's found an old little piece of bone. I do really like hyenas. What a character. So you can see they've got a very distinct body shape with that long sloping back. Does anyone out there know why a hyena is built like that? Can anyone think of a reason why that hyena has that very big, powerful front end body and then quite a sloping back and much smaller, less developed lower body? Standing by. Sorry, go again.
Did anybody find a bullet this morning?
Firm, that was Ingwe, Mark and Lex were with. Sorry guys, just chatting on the game drive channel for a second. So the other hyenas have moved to the mouth of the den. I'm just going to swoop. Hi Lisa, morning, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Lisa's saying it doesn't look like these hyenas have enough ambition to take down a hyena. Yeah, nice full bellies, they're not completely full, but definitely they've eaten quite well recently, and a zebra could be quite a dangerous thing. I mean, a kick from a zebra could break their jaw, and that would spell the end for them, so there's no real reason for them to attempt to hunt the zebra, and the zebra can tell that from their body language. And so the zebra have actually just stopped 25 meters away and are continuing to feed. So let's see what's going on. There are no cubs out yet, but the 3 adults, there was a 4th adult when we arrived. I'm not sure where that one's gone. It could be lying up on the other side of the den. Let's see if they managed to. I heard a little bit of that sort of low-pitched call hyenas do sometimes when they're trying to call out youngsters. Well, that looks like you can see the dominance there. And the one who just walked up towards the mouth of the den looks like she's lactating. So we might possibly get a youngster to come out, or not. Just zoom in on her belly, please, for me, Viv. The one who's standing there. Is she lactating or is she pregnant? I did see a hyena who looked very pregnant a while ago. But when they've got a full belly, it's more difficult to tell. As you can see, her nipples are enlarged. I'm not sure whether she's actually lactating or she's actually pregnant. It does look like she might be pregnant, which is really good news. We have some new little cubs, and they are really, really cute when they are small. All of them keep looking and listening behind us. I'm not sure what they're listening to. There could be other hyenas arriving on their way back to the den. Hi Remy, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Remy would like to know, do hyenas swallow bone? They do, but they do break it down into smaller pieces with those incredibly powerful jaws of theirs. Before they swallow, and they one of their special evolutionary adaptations is that ability to crush bone. And they can crush huge bones, so their jaws are quite a lot more powerful than lions, but their teeth are also, hang on a second, nearly lost my ears. Their teeth are also differently adapted to lions, so they're not as sharp on the points, and they've got sort of rounded edges that are more for crushing rather than cutting and piercing. So their teeth are made for sort of crushing, but also if they are to hunt and they manage to grab on, they sort of bite and hold onto their prey. I think it might be another hyena on its way, just watching the way they're listening to that particular area. And it's got nice and warm now. All the layers of clothing are coming off. Hi, Sandy from Texas. Welcome on Sunrise Safari. Sandy's just mentioning when VM did a close-up on the paws, maybe we can do that again. She said it looks like the claws have been groomed. They are kept quite short, and she'd like to know, how do hyenas do this? Because domestic dogs seem incapable of doing this. Well, Sandy, that's not entirely true. They're not groomed as such as worn. I mean, hyenas walk incredible long distances. There we go. That's a really nice visual there. You can see how the edges are blunted. And that is almost purely from walking long distances all the time. And the reason domestic dogs seem to not do that anymore is because they're domesticated and they live with us and they don't have to go looking for food and hunting anymore. So they don't walk or travel or run as far as they should or to keep those claws shortened. So that is just a side effect of being domesticated and not having to hunt for your own food. The fact is that we feed them, so they don't have to cover vast distance and they don't have to hunt. And a domestic dog is a pack animal, so they would have hunted in packs and they would have run quite a lot, and that would have kept those claws short. But now, because they're domesticated, they are no longer short. And whereas the hyena still has to walk incredible long distances for foraging, and they will run when they're hunting, and that is how the claws are kept so short. Hi, Marianne. Marianne seems to have got the closest to the answer to the question. There's a particular reason that hyena's got that long sloping back and very powerful built forequarters. And one of the reasons is that they are able to, when they're scavenging off lions and that, they can actually sort of rush in and grab. Oh, everyone's leaving. And grab a large piece of prey or of carcass and lift it and run off with it at high speed. There's another reason that they have that long sloping back, and that adaptation is specifically for stamina. So they are able to walk and travel long distances, and that particular shape enables them to be quite energy efficient when they are walking. And you see them drop their head there, and as they disappear into the drainage line, so that is one of the reasons is for stamina. Just wanted to show you guys something quickly. There we go. So we were talking about the amount of crushing power that's in a hyena's jaw and the teeth structure. Just have a quick look there. You can see there's a diagram of a hyena's skull, and specifically with the teeth, and you see how rounded the points are. If we go quickly across to the lion, you see much sharper, made for cutting those premolars and molars, and in much sharper canines that are made for sort of anchoring when they go for the kill. But if we look at the hyena, much more rounded, all the teeth, and much more massive. I mean, just look at the width difference there as opposed to on a lion. So much more massive. And also, if you look, that crushing power comes from this dorsal crest here. So all those big masseter muscles and whatnot are attached through there, and that drives the power that enables them to crush. So lions have an extended crest much more than sort of your smaller cats, but even on a hyena, it's even more extended. It goes right up much higher, and that allows for much bigger muscles and tendons to be attached to that area. So very interesting how the different animals have evolved specifically to their niches. And we are now hyena-less. They have disappeared into the drainage line. So I'm going to see if we can find a zebra if they haven't moved off too far. Meander off to see if we can find the zebra again. We're going to cross back to Marcus, who I believe is still hot on the tracks. So hopefully you find he has some luck that side, and we'll catch up with you a little later on the drive.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the ongoing hunt for cats. I can't really get in here. This is the last place that we saw Mbula this morning. He was making his way in here. That big jackalberry that I've been using as a landmark is much further down this little drainage line where it comes into the Mulwati. We were waiting there. I suspect that he might be sleeping somewhere between here and the Mulwati.
Will you come in?
Oh, excuse me. So as much as I'd love to try and find him again, I think this is going to be calling it a day now. I guess we've got no choice to say that it was great to have seen him, but there are times when we just have to let them be. And maybe before drive starts this afternoon, we can just come and take a little bit of a walk in here and have a look. See also if there are any tracks coming out from any of these places. So for now, let's continue. We'll go up Mvubu Road, I think. Just up Mvubu Road. And look for some other things. Sounds like you've seen some nice, interesting stuff with Brent this morning. Warming up nicely. Somebody mentioned a cat. One of the Zoomies mentioned a cat at Gari Dam this morning, Djuma Waterhole, Gari Dam. Unfortunately, no time was given or what angle. It really helps us a lot. It's quite amazing, in fact, when we do get messages from the viewers to say that they saw something at a particular time, or well, the different animals that do visit. But it is important, maybe as important as the timing of the sighting, because remember, we don't watch the camera and we have no visual of the dam at all from where we stay. Those of us that stay up in Manyaleti, we come down in the dark, and where we stay we can't see Gari Dam at all, and we don't log on to the dam webcam. So we depend not only for Gari Dam but also for Arathusa Dam. We depend a lot on the Zoomies and the people who are watching to give us information. But please, for future emails and things, please let us know if the camera is straight facing the dam, or facing the water straight ahead, where the water stretches both left and right. We could call that 12 o'clock, because that's in front of the dam, in front of the camera. So anything left is going north, anything to the right is going south, anything going more or less straight away from the dam, the angle from the camera to the dam is more or less east. And it just gives us a starting point to look for things. But we're going to go up Mvubu Road. Let's see if we can find any signs of anyone up here. Like whoever is zooming at the moment, it looks like there's some impala that are just coming down. I see some elephant tracks here. I don't know if they were caught on camera, but it looks like elephant came past the dam maybe during the night. But we are directly opposite the camera now. There are impala that are coming down to drink right in front of the camera. We go back right and get a shot of that for you. I thought we'd have another gap, but I'll have to go back for this. So there's some impala just coming out now in front of the waterhole camera. And you can see the white box that you can see at the base of that tree in the top right of your frame. That is actually the light. And then there's a teardrop shape higher up on the tree. That is the waterhole camera at Djuma. So we're looking at the camera. The camera is looking either at us or at the impala. You can always just lift the camera from the impala and look to the east. You should find us parked up on Mvubu Road. We're heading north on Mvubu Road. Keep watch of those impala, by the way, because if there is a cat around, it's probably going to spook them. And that's when you can let us know if anything's happening. Let's continue. Penny Pine, Texas. Hello, Penny Pine. Yes, this is the same feather I had the other day. It's the one I found when we were close to the hyena den. Well, Liam saw it. I picked it up. I claimed it. And I'm using it because I haven't got my other wild turkey feather that's on the leather thong with the other feathers. That's actually supposed to be for smoke. This would make a good one for that kind of thing. But it's my fly swish at the moment. They sit on my face and it's ticklish. Question a couple of days ago from some of our long-time viewers if they could think of things that we could show to some of the first-time viewers that could spark a bit of interest or create a diversion from looking for animals. And Sharon mentioned a few things, because there are a lot of things in the summer months that we can do that we can't really do in the winter months. Oh look, there's a nice plant. That's an interesting plant. That sort of leaf, that green leaf sticking out of the ground. It's known as Sansevieria. Not flowering at the moment. There's another one closer to that sickle bush. Now the Sansevieria is also known as mother-in-law's tongue. It is quite a common house plant, and of course there are many different cultivars that are grown. Long, thin, sword-shaped leaves, variegated leaves, all different types of Sansevierias. Mother-in-law's tongue because it's long, it's hard, and it's sharp. Now Sharon mentioned one thing that I'm going to have to try and find this afternoon. Sharon in Austria was saying that there used to be a tree where there was a python that used to spend time in winter. And I remember being on camera with Rex, or being with Rex on camera, one of the two, when we found it. Rex found it. I think Rex was on camera at the time, and not presenting, and he was almost eye level with it. Now Sharon, that was on that junction with Weaver's Nest, and the old fire break that runs down to Twin Dams from Weaver's Nest. There's that little fire break. I've been past there a couple of times, but there are trees that have fallen over the road. But I'm going to go back there this afternoon and we'll see if we can find something. I haven't managed to get that far south this morning, down near Twin Dams or down to Weaver's Nest. So funny enough, I was going to start drive this morning heading down Weaver's Nest, and I got distracted by cat tracks. It's supposed to show it's very hard to actually plan things. It's always very hard to stick to plans, let's put it that way. You can plan away all you like, but then sometimes as we leave camp or something happens that changes our direction and it has to change plans entirely. Oh, there's a little apellis in this buffalo thorn. Could hear it. It's gone. Up in that bigger one now. It's moved so fast. These small birds don't give us a break. My guess is that possibly a bath roted. Use gravity drive and try and sneak down. It's quite deep in the middle of this buffalo thorn. Sadly, it was sitting out in the open earlier. He is calling and moving at the same time. Gone. And I didn't get a good look. Hello, Ellies. I thought I saw some tracks. What you doing, boys and girls? Always nice to find some Ellies. Hello, children. Can we come and say hello? Stop with this bull first. Then we'll see if we can find the Mrs. the mother of these calves. Now they're no doubt going to be heading up towards the dam. We're not too far from the top end of Gowrie Dam. We're just opposite some of the top rooms for Vuyatela Lodge. Oh, we can't find the leopard, we found some elephant. There we go. Nice way to end our sunrise drive this morning, spending time with them. Seen quite a few adults up ahead under that big jackalberry. Perhaps in a short while we'll go a little bit further around in front of the camp and see if we can find anything. The cows and calves. We were heading up Mvubu Road, and I just had a hunch and turned down the little track from Mvubu Road that goes to the top of Gowrie Dam. And it actually, this is the little track that then bends around past that little water hole in front of Gallagher Camp. And I'm guessing that maybe these ellies have come from there and they've been drinking at that little water hole already, perhaps. And now they're feeding around Gowrie Dam. If it gets hot, they're probably going to go down to the dam, maybe have a mud bath a little bit later. I can hear Cokie francolins chirping and crested francolins. So while he's moving off, I'm going to see if we can head around to see some of those calves and cows that are underneath the very big jackalberry. isn't great because we're looking into the sun. And the angle isn't great, but I'm just going to stop for now. Most of them have already moved up from the drainage line, and they're in some rather thick bush for the time being. And I've noticed there's a lot of feeding on buffalo thorn at the moment. A lot of the elephants are utilizing the buffalo thorn, probably because the leaves are at their fullest, the tree's at its best at the moment before it starts losing its leaves. He's got his head stuck right into that buffalo thorn. Let's go around a bit, Brian. See if we can catch up with some cows and calves. These are two of the bulls that are probably just socializing with the herd at the moment. They're all here, but we're not going to, at the moment, not going to see. I see they are moving up towards the road, back towards the road, especially with that bull joining them now. And the cows are starting to move, but we can't get there, because it's just way too thick. I might get around the termite mound of the big jackalberry, but it might be best if we just go back to the road. The problem is that if we do get to see them from here, we're just going to be seeing the back of them because they are slowly moving. Hello, Drongo. Hello, Mr. Ellie. One of the calves here too. Really pretty girl. Look at those tusks. Some really lovely tusks. A bit of a chip out of her right tusk. Guess what? Well, she's eating a lot of the grasses that are growing protected underneath that fallen buffalo thorn. It looks like a lot of that buffalo. At the moment it's picking up the branches of buffalo thorn more than anything else. And despite all the thorns which pierce our skin at the slightest provocation, she just puts them in her mouth and munches away, thorns and all. Some of you might not have caught Fireside Chat last night and might not be on social media. I just thought I'd let you know that this is my last morning drive for some time. I am moving on from Wild Earth for the time being. I have resigned, and so I'm going to be going home to the Timbavati for now. And leaving everything in the capable hands of the crew that we have at the moment. James doing pretty well. I think he's going to be joining the crew, I'm not sure. Oh, look at that little thing. And, well, the elephants, with the ellies moving away into the thicker bush, I'm going to be moving away back for breakfast. I'll be on drive this afternoon at 3 o'clock Central African time with, I think James might be joining me this afternoon on the other vehicle, and we'll see what we can find then. I'm hoping that these ellies are going to head over to the dam. Keep an eye on Gary and Djuma waterhole camera if you're not going to bed, if it's not too late for you, because they will be there in the next maybe half an hour or so, or maybe hour. It might take them a while to get there. My name is Mark. I've had Brian on camera with me this morning, and thank you, Brian, for putting up with all the camera angles with the terrain today. Great leopard. Great to have ellies. I'll see you this afternoon. Love you lots. Bye, ellies. Love you lots also.